Good evening, Danvers. This is Dutoshen Joko, Chair of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. As a preliminary matter, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Charles Desmond, Bob Gamer, Bob, I think you were muted. Bob, can you hear me? Okay, I'll get back to
Muted, Bob.
You hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you.
Here.
Bill Graham,
There.
Donna Hopkins,
Present.
David McKenna, David McKenna is muted. I'll get back to him. Paul Pollack.
There.
Perfect.
Can you hear me, D?
Yes, I can. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Present.
David McKenna, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
All right. My computer's acting up this evening. Sorry.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Staff and liaisons, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Eileen Page,
Present.
Lieutenant Rob Sullivan,
Yep.
David Mills, and I do know Pastor Douglas Voigt and Eric Crane are unable to join us tonight. This open meeting of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gathering, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda material for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberation of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is convening remotely via the WebEx app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting material that have been provided members of this body are also available on the town website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I noted otherwise. We are now turning onto the second item on the agenda. But before I do so, Permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through myself, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So the second item on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes from January 21st, 2020. And those minutes were included along with the agenda. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
D, I move the approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay, that was the minutes moved by Paul Pollack, second by David McKenna. Is that correct?
I would have, but I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, who was that? Who second?
Seconded.
Okay, Bill Graham. So that was Paul Pollack and second by Bill Graham. I will now call on each member to vote on the approval of the minutes. Bob Gamer,
Approve.
Bill Graham,
Approve.
Donna Hopkins,
Approve.
David McKenna,
Approve.
Paul Pollack, I think we may have lost Paul. Okay, here we go. Paul Pollack,
Approve. Second.
and I am approved. So the minutes, or Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Approved.
Thank you. The minutes for January 21st, 2021 are approved as presented. I will now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the social media subcommittee update. We've been talking for a while about our social presence. Here we are meeting, virtually. So virtual is the way to go now until we can get back together. So it's important that we also reach out to our residents virtually. And the subcommittee, the social media subcommittee have been working very hard to find ways to get that done. So we're gonna get an update from that subcommittee. I'll start by Donna.
Okay, and we're gonna, Eileen is gonna screen share this with you in just a minute. Or I guess, for Pup. So one of the things we wanted to do for the social media subcommittee is we're working on our webs. We're working on a couple of things simultaneously. But we want to have a website that people can go to and will go to often and frequently. We want to have a calendar that they can go to, see what's going on that month, and we want to have links to different events. And what we want to do for March is Women's History Month, and I think I'm waiting to see when that's coming up here. So I just want to show you what we've done so far. It's going to be worked on more. We want to put a lot more pictures on it, make it a lot more user-friendly, but we want to have links in here that people can click to get more information. So we just want to have a place that people can go and then they can click on things to learn more about it, or click on things that we might be doing in the town, or click on things that might have townspeople in it. So we want to make it very interactive, very user-friendly. And I think as soon as we get there, I want to show you what we're doing. Okay, so I think that's it, isn't it, Eileen?
Eileen, I think you're muted.
I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself with the screen
Oh.
share on. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm on now. Donna, yes, the first thing I just wanted to show really quickly was how to get to the page.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah, because I went to the town of Danvers, so.
That's what I was trying to do. So, and there we will post links and all that, but for now, this is the only way to get to it because it's kind of under construction, if you will. So we go to events. And right here under upcoming events, you can click on Women's History Month, which just takes you to this little ditty that has a coming soon graphic. But this is where we will be able to actually post everything and have a very interactive page for people who are coming to celebrate with us virtually. So that'll all be up there. Hopefully March 1st is the goal.
I think we'll make that. Okay. So
Yeah.
and this is how the website is more or less set out. And I think you can see now what's in the text. It starts with some of the founding mothers. And you can just kind of read through who we have in there. And you can see the blue links that people can click on to learn more about that particular individual. This is not set in concrete. If you want to add more people to it, please. I mean, we are a committee. I would love everybody's input. You may think of someone we haven't already thought of. I'd love to have them. The only thing I'm going to ask you, if you send it to Eileen or to myself or to Bob Gamer, or whoever else is on our social media committee, please just add like a little blurb or something about who that person is and why you wanted to include them in this information. And then we have it set up, we're kind of scrolling through there quickly there, but you can kind of see women in the arts. And then we've got a bunch of women who have become significant in that field through their accomplishments in the different artistic endeavors. And you can kind of see some of the people that we have there. Next, you can see that we've got the scientists. So we have it broken down by a lot of different categories. Some people may be in more than one category. We're just putting them in the one that was most appropriate. But again, we want input from the whole rest of our committee. So if you can think of other women who should be included, that's wonderful. And what we're hoping to do is take this as a basic model and expand upon that every single month so that we can have something that people can go to. I'm hoping this will be something people will come to often and frequently to learn about what's going on, to learn about the different things that are going on each month in the town and to see how that maybe fits in with our group. And this, I'm guessing, Eileen, this is still going to be in there if they want to go back to it. I don't know if that calendar allows them to go back in time.
Oh, we can certainly keep it up basically forever. I also have old from links to previous Martin Luther King Day tributes and things like that, so we can keep everything up on there and people can just click onto it when they want to see it.
So what we wanted to do is something similar to this that you can go to. Again, we do want to fix it up so it's more visually appealing. We want to have some graphics. We want to have some pictures in there. And we do want input from the rest of the committee, the people that haven't been involved in the social media committee. We'd love to have your input. Who would you like to see included in this list? And you can.
And I
kind of
will
go
also
down.
send this draft out to everybody so they can take a look and provide feedback as well. We've kind of compiled it here, and I will send it to everyone after this meeting.
And one of the other things that I've talked with Eileen about is how many people are using the town's calendar. It's a little bit difficult to go to, but that's an issue that we can kind of address as we're moving forward. And the other thing one of the things we're going to try and do to get more publicity about this is the library right now. When people come to pick up books, they have to actually come to a table outside the library. We want to put up notices where people are going to congregate, maybe the senior center. We need to start getting information out there. We want to start coming up with graphics that you can use on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you use for social media. We want to have graphics that all of the members in the committee can put out with the link so someone can come back to this. We really want to start making an impact on members of the community specifically. hopefully even further than that. And we're trying to think of ways we can get, so we can have the best website in the world, but we need to have more people going to that website. We need to figure out ways we can publicize the website. So I don't know if anyone had any questions. It's very difficult to do this on a virtual call.
Sure. Do I just go down the list of members if someone has any question or comments before we go to the newsletter? Yes,
Can I
Eileen?
make one comment?
Sure.
I would just ask that if members of the committee would like to contribute to this, in addition to women, to add to this, we also are collecting, of course, movies, books, but especially books for children about women's history, exceptional women. If you could send it to me by Thursday the 25th, so 1 week from today, just so we can make sure we have everything formatted and ready to post on Monday the 1st. That would be the best timeline for us to give us a little time to get everything situated.
Perfect. Thank you, Donna, for the update. I'll now go down the list of members for any questions or comments. I'll start by Bob Gamer.
Bob, I'm going to unmute you. I'll send you a request to unmute.
Bob, any question or comments about the Women History Month celebration webpage?
The women,
Yes.
it's really a welcome addition. Yes, look forward to seeing it.
Perfect. Thank you. Bill Graham.
I'll need to read what we've got before I'd have any comments, so none now.
Okay, thank you. Will it be helpful to give some of the names, maybe 5 or 6 of the names of the women that we have up there so far? Just, can you quickly read that for me, Eileen?
Absolutely.
Please.
Let me pull it up here. So under founding mothers, we have Sacagawea, Harriet Tubman, and then 2 others, Agent 355, who her identity is not known, but she was a Revolutionary War spy, but we know she was a woman. So for leaders, we have Vice President Harris, Malala Yousafzai, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Sonia Sotomayor. A few athletes we have are Gertrude Ederle, Althea Gibson, Caitlyn Jenner, Billie Jean King, couple women in the arts, Hedy Lamarr, Audrey Hepburn, Angelina Jolie, Amanda Gorman. Women scientists, we have Marie Curie, Katherine Johnson, Sally Ride, and Katie Bowman, who some people may not have heard of. She's a little newer to the scene, but she was the female mathematician and scientist who wrote the code that took the first photograph of a black hole for NASA. We have a couple Danvers residents, Eliza Putnam Heaton, who was a journalist, and Megan Duggan, who is an Olympic ice hockey player, both from Danvers. And then we have a list of movies for children, families, and adults, and some books, all just kind of about powerful women. For the kids' movies, we've got Mulan, and what was the other one? Brave, Moana, a lot of Disney movies on there. So I will, like I said, I will send this out so everyone can read more about it and read the full list. But that's just kind of the gist of who's on there right now.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was helpful. Bill Graham, you have the floor.
I have a book on Sacagawea. Would you like me to bring it into you, Eileen?
If you could send me the name, I am happy to put it in here. If you send me the name and author, I would love to put it in here. There's actually not many.
In Nebraska.
Perfect.
Thank you. Anything else, Bill? Okay, perfect. David McKenna?
But I wanted to mention the book.
Okay, thank you. David McKenna?
Oh, oh, David, I just sent you a request to unmute.
I just did. You muted me again.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You're unmuted now.
Is Sally the first woman from Danvers to have been elected to the state legislature? And if so, should she be in there?
Oh, I didn't know she was the first woman from Danvers to be elected to the state legislature.
I think she may have been, but I'm not sure. But if she is, maybe we should include her.
Sure.
Sure.
I think it's a good project. Really haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I will.
Thank you. Paul Pollack.
Can you hear me, D?
Yes.
Well, I think Sally's been elected twice to the state legislature. So I don't know of anybody prior, but I haven't lived my whole life in Danvers. So a couple of names I thought of, and one was just because I just happened to pick up a PBS American Experience presentation that I'm still watching, by the way, is the world famous contralto Marian Anderson. You have to go back to the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, and I'm not so sure when she actually passed, but she went well into the 60s and 70s. And if you look at her experiences as a youngster trying to get educated, as a singer and entertainer, it's quite inspiring. In fact, she had to move over to Europe to expand her career before she came back, getting out of Europe around 1935 as the Nazis were taking over. She's an African-American black woman. And I think she'd be one that we could easily put on the list that we just mentioned for the women's section. And also another woman that I'm not so sure, I don't know all the details, but I would also consider you might want to reference what she might have done, was former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt back in the 20s, the 30s, and 40s. I know a little bit I know about her. She really worked hard, maybe not too successfully, to get her husband, the president at the time, to take a stronger stance on Jim Crow laws, etc. Those are the two names I would maybe the committee could look into.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Yeah, I would like to look over what you have, Eileen, and just check out the format that you're using. There are a couple of women that I would probably write up a little blurb about for you. A couple of scientists who recently won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their work with CRISPR technology. Jennifer Dauda and Emmanuel Charpentier. So I mean, it's something that I use at work every day. That technology, it's amazing. It's a gene editing technology. So something that touches my life every day. So I'll write up something when I see the format.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see if we can hear from our liaisons. If they have any comments or questions. Lieutenant Rob Sullivan.
What I can see on the screen, the list looks really great and thorough. I like how it's broken down into different categories, so people can read about different areas of interest. And I saw Amanda Gorman's name on there, so I'm glad she got on there right now. Sometimes these lists are famous old dead people, and it's nice to see somebody new and young on a list like this.
Isn't she the best?
She is. She did an amazing, amazing job.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And I see David Mills. Any question or comments?
Thank you, Dee. Hi, everyone. Glad to see you all. I'm wondering if I don't know if we have time or can consider a section on lesbian women. Just for example, the poet Audre Lorde, Ellen DeGeneres, a pioneer, in being an out person, let alone a lesbian in television. Meg Duggan from our own town of Danvers. Jennifer Levi, a lawyer in Boston who is the foremost authority on transgender law in the country. Rachel Maddow, who is, at least at one time last year, had the most visible, highly tuned in radio talk show in the nation. Let me see, Jodie Foster, Lily Tomlin, Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live, Mary Bernardo, the lawyer from Glad in Boston who argued a famous gay marriage case in the United States Supreme Court. There are some phenomenally accomplished, dignified lesbian. I don't know if we have time to do that, but
Can I? So David, each category does have at least one member of the LGBTQIA community. Usually it's more than one, but each category does have at least one, and Meg Dugan is included in that list as well already. But if you have any in particular that you'd like me to add after I've sent the list out, please feel free to send it to Donna and I.
sure. And then I just want to mention that June will be coming up again, Gay Pride Month. It may be virtual, whatever we do, but I don't know how controversial the flag is going to be this year, but we'll have one in front of the town hall, I hope. We have for 9 years. And we have one in front of my house and one of Bill Graham's house. And let me see who else has recently. A couple others have gone up in town, and I don't know where the flag committee is under the town manager's auspices. And I realize it's a hot political item, so at least it became a hot political item. So what that's going to be, I don't know. But during Gay Pride Month on our website, that might also be a place, not just for lesbians, but for accomplished lesbian and gay people in the history of civil rights, especially. We are a human rights and inclusion committee. So that's just a thought. That's down the road, but not so far down the road. Yeah, but otherwise, I think the idea, I can't imagine how Eileen and Donna can do that. Well, they do on this. I just think the idea of a website is phenomenal. I don't know. They help, and we've got to help them. But thank you for all the things you do, Donna. I can't believe, including a new puppy. So love that puppy. Okay, enough from me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, David. And you're definitely right. For the idea is that once we get this going, for June, for example, we will have the event on the calendar, and we will also feature a lot of things that pertain to that specific event. That's the idea. So, perfect. Anybody else have? So, if someone has a woman in history or current that they want included in this initial website, please send that to either Donna or Eileen by the 25th of March, so that we have a few days to finalize it before it's posted on, no, the 25th of February, pardon me, so we can get that posted on March 1st.
And just to clarify as well, because Donna and I had talked a bit about what the layout will look like of the website. It's not going to be just, a whole page of text. The goal, I've reached out to IT, and the goal is to have different boxes you can click on for, if you want to read more about women in sports. And there will be pictures of them and links to, books and their websites. Many of these women are still alive and actively are on Instagram. So it's kind of a way to connect with these incredible figures in real time, in real life. So it will be, I don't want anyone to think it's just going to be a page of text. The goal, it's going to be much more interactive and interesting to look at. So we'll get that going soon.
Thank you. And parallel to this Women History Month celebration webpage, the subcommittee has also been working, and we discussed this last month, having a newsletter, a Human Rights and Inclusion Committee newsletter. Again, the fact that we are not meeting in person, everything is happening virtually. We want to be able to reach our residents wherever they are, at home, on their laptop, on their phone, at the library. So we also had a meeting talking about what that newsletter would look like. And we are hoping to launch that next month as well, along with the Women History Month. I'll pass it on to Bob. Did I lose Bob?
I think we've lost Bob.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on my email. I don't see anything from him saying he got kicked out, so I wonder if he just had some technical difficulties.
Sure. Okay.
Do you want me to talk a bit about it? Do we want to come back to it? What would you prefer to do, Dee?
Well, maybe that was item 3B on the agenda. While we're trying to see if we can get Bob back, we can actually discuss, have a discussion as to what we want that newsletter to be called, which is going to be item number 3C. So if we're going to be having that newsletter, it could be monthly, it could be twice a month, depending on what we decide to do and the ability of us being able to get the information there. What do we want it called? And I want everyone to kind of let us know what they think that newsletter should be called. We originally thought of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee newsletter. That's a mouthful. So that alone will fill up a whole page of the newsletter. And I thought of the bumper sticker context winner. I don't have it handy, but it was a sixth grader, I believe, in our town. That was the final winner of the bumper sticker. And her bumper sticker, yeah, her bumper sticker was entitled Denver United. I thought maybe we call the newsletter Denver's United with the bumper sticker right there on the front page. Someone else thought maybe we can call it the Unifier. So I'm just throwing it out there, and I'll go down the list of members, and you tell me if you have a different name, what you think we should call it. Let me start by Bill Graham.
Well, you gave two real good possibilities. I could support either one of those.
Okay. Donna Hopkins.
I'm not in a decision-making mood. I don't have a. I'm not going to be much help tonight with that.
That's okay. David McKenna.
Learn how to unmute this thing quickly. I was thinking something like the Equalitarian, but I'd like Danvers United. I think that would work well.
Okay, perfect. Paul Pollack.
Am I unmuted, Dee?
Yes, you are.
David, what was yours? David McKenna's.
I was thinking the Equalitarian.
I was thinking something along those lines, like equally united, and the truth, and another one would be common sense. But I'm not so sure that would fly.
Contradiction in terms, Paul.
I didn't hear that, David.
It's a contradiction in terms.
Yes, well, not being an English major, I'll give to you. But what I would like to see it have a little bit of bite to it. In other words, not an overly amount of vanilla, I guess is the best way I could put it. I think we, we stand for what we stand, and we damn sure better express it if we're going to have a newsletter. Okay? Maybe.
So Bob, I'm sorry, you said the Truth, Equality United, and what was the other one?
The one that David successfully shot down. Common Sense.
I think that
Okay.
title's been taken, Paul.
What's that? Say that, Dave.
That title has been taken.
It has.
A
Huh?
while back.
Ben Franklin, I think.
What's that?
Ben Franklin used it, I think.
Oh, I think it's something. Yeah,
Thomas
something like
Paine wrote a pamphlet.
Yes, you're right. Thomas Paine.
Thomas Paine.
Okay.
Yes, that's
How-
right.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
I like Danvers United, even though it sounds like a football club.
Okay. Let's hear from our liaisons and get their input. Lieutenant Rob Sullivan.
Well, I guess if you went with Danvers United, you might get some people searching for Manchester United, so we can get the name out a little bit more. But a lot to think about. I like all the names suggested so far.
You like Common Sense?
I like Common Sense.
I've never been accused of having common sense.
No pressure, Bob.
David Mills.
God, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what you're talking about because while you were talking, I was still looking up famous lesbians to put on my list to send to Eileen. So, may I ask, and I'm older than anybody on the screen, what exactly are we discussing?
Excuse me, David, you're not. I hate to keep interrupting you this way, but I've got a few years on you, my friend.
Oh, Paul, let me count my blessings.
So David, we parallel to the website the web page that we'll be having next month for Women History Month. We're gonna continue subsequent months for other things that we'll be having on the calendar. We were also working on a newsletter because, like I said, everything is happening virtually, and we want to reach as many people as we can at home. So we were going to launch a newsletter next month as well for the committee, and then continue to do it every month after that. And we wanted to come up with a title of that newsletter. And there were a few names that we were just discussing, and we wanted to know if you had any suggestions. There were names like Danvers United. That came from the student, the HRMS student who won the bumper sticker contest. Her bumper sticker said Danvers United with the graphic. Someone had suggested the Unifier. And then there were other names like the Truth, Equally United, Common Sense, and I forget what David McKenna suggested. It was a very complex name.
The Equalitarian.
The Equalitarian.
A little bit of a stretch, though, I think.
No, I think it's very, very graceful, tasteful. Danvers United is simple, but it feels really good. And then in the top of our newsletter, I think prominently the initials HRIC for Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. I guess that will appear anyway. A periodic publication of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Then we
That's
got.
right.
I don't know if the New York Times still says it at the top of the page. They used to say, all the news that fits, we print. So I don't know how much news we're going to, I think it's a wonderful thing. And Bob Gamer loves to write, and Bill Graham loves to write. So we may have I just want to know how we're going to fill it up every month, but I'll try to offer something. Who's going to be the editor in addition, once we find a title?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be communication from this committee. Obviously, we have the social media subcommittee that will be working on it periodically, but the information will be information from this committee to the town.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. Those are my only thoughts, notwithstanding that I wasn't paying attention. Because I'm still writing list of lesbians here.
That's okay. Yes, Bill?
Billie Jean King, by the way, for example. All right, I'm going to shut up. Goodbye.
If we get lots of the bumper stickers distributed around town, that's going to be a very good sign. And so Danvers United with the bumper sticker as well is going to attract a lot of attention from people in the community, I think.
That was my thought, because we will already be having bumper sticker. We'll be distributing those to the town, and it's one of our kids in town who came up with that name and that bumper sticker. So I thought by using that as our newsletter, with it will be a good fit.
All right.
And a little child shall lead them.
With our committee and that title.
Yes.
Yeah.
David McKenna, you said something.
I said, and a little child shall lead them. Truth comes from the mouths of children very often. I think it's fitting.
Okay, so
Say something, D.
yes, Paul. Yes, Paul.
And if we did adopt the I'm just flipping over my notes here, the Danvers United, we should also give a background on why we chose that title and give credit to the youngster and the bumper sticker. I think it would be at least to give the public an idea of where we came from and how we got the name of the newsletter, if that's what we end up doing with that particular choice.
I'm sure we definitely can do that.
It would be very easy, just a recommendation. I think it would be in our best interest, as David just said, from the mouths of a child.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's my take on that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Eileen.
Dee, the perfect place to do that might even be in that first article on the front page from the chair. That could be a perfect, kind of first article for you. If it's all right with you, I'll share my screen so people can kind of show what, can kind of see what we put together so far. And
Yes, before you do that, Eileen, can I just say that we will come back to vote on the name. So I want us to circle back on 3B. I tried to get hold of Bob. He's probably having some technical difficulty. So we will swing back on 3B, which is talking about the newsletter. I know you were taking note during our subcommittee meeting. So as you share your screen, if you want to also just fill us in as to what the newsletter will look like and what that's all about, since Bob is not back yet. Thank you.
Sure, and I'll continue to keep an eye on my email for Bob as well. Well, I'm glad everybody kind of likes the name Danvers United, because that's what I used for my kind of placeholder. So this is what we have, what we're kind of looking at so far. Can everyone see this? Is this working?
Yes.
Okay. So this would be the first page, Danvers United and Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee across the top. We have a section over here that would just list a few notable days of each month. So, the 8th is International Women's Day. 21st is World Down Syndrome Day. 25th is a day that's really fascinating that I've gotten into reading a bit more about, the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade. And that is acknowledged, was established by the United Nations. So here we'd have our first little section of, just a monthly short letter from Dee, from the chair, to kind of launch the newsletter of the month. The second page, I see how I have to do this. I had laid it out to feature a little bit more about Women's History Month. So we've got just a little blurb on what it is, a book recommendation related to Women's History Month, and then another section called This Month in History, which has, I kind of scoured the web for a few major human rights related events that happened in the month of March. So we've got the 15th Amendment was ratified in 1870, which granted Black men the right to vote. The first suffragette march on Washington, the establishment of the Peace Corps, and then the ordainment of 32 women into the Church of England for the very first time. So that's just, we can certainly add to this and expand on it. I just kind of put this together to show, what we could kind of envision a March newsletter looking like. Then we added a full page about the International Day of Remembrance of Slavery and the slave trade, some resources about talking about slavery, especially with children, and then this QR code at the bottom can be scanned with a smartphone to bring you right to a page on our website that has book recommendations, video recommendations, podcasts, all of that. And then a bit of history about the day itself over on this side. Fourth page right now is kind of just basic information about us, who we are, the members, how to get involved, how to visit our website. If you scan this QR code on a phone, this will bring you right to our website's homepage, or it gives the direct link in the newsletter as well if you need to type it in. I know that's kind of a really quick 30,000-foot view, and we're of course open to suggestions, additions, changes, but I kind of wanted to give an idea of what something could look like on a month-to-month basis.
Thank you very much for the update. Thank you.
Sure.
So I will now go down the list of members. If anyone has any questions or comments, Bob still have been unable to join us. So Bill Graham.
When you talk about anti-slavery thing, have any of you watched the series that's just been on TV, The Black Church? It has some marvelous backgrounds for slavery and corrects a lot of misunderstandings historically.
I have not.
PBS last night. But I strongly recommend that to people.
Yeah, Bill, if you can send the title to Eileen and she can probably share that with the committee.
Okay.
Perfect.
And my other question is, we mentioned putting the bumper sticker on. Where would you put that in the newsletter?
Well, my idea was to have this, if we have Danvers United, and it will be right there, like
So along
maybe
with
on the left or the right. Yeah, kind of like Danvers United. Just kind of on top there with Danvers United, because that's where we will be taking the name from.
Good. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Thank you.
Donna Hopkins.
Yes. What was the question?
Any question or comment about the newsletter?
No. Were you going to vote on a name tonight?
Ideally, yes, because we want this to be out on March 1st.
Okay. All
If
right.
possible. David McKenna.
Sorry, I lost my signal for a few minutes and missed some of the conversation. But well, I think it's a great idea, and hopefully we can get it moving.
Perfect. Thank you. Paul Pollack.
Well, I'm totally in favor of what we're doing and how we're proceeding right now. I wonder if we've had some thought. Is this going to be a monthly? Are we going to set up a calendar for the year? Is it going to be a monthly newsletter every other month, or 8 or 9 months? Because historically we don't do much in the summer, and that's not saying we shouldn't. But if we decided to slow down everything in the summertime like we have in the past, I wouldn't want to be putting a lot of burden on folks who are busy, maybe vacationing with children, etc. I just wondered if you'd thought about that. So.
We did, and ideally, we would like to do this every month.
Right.
And we're thinking of, I mean, if we have, for example, we're thinking eventually to have a section from even students, like a student section where students from the anti-discrimination league at the school can write something.
Right.
It's definitely going to require all of us to share the burden and participate somehow. That's true. But I think we can do it. And the length of the newsletter is up to us. There's nothing that says it has to be 4 or 5 pages every month. It could be 1 page if that's all we have to share with our community.
Well, I think we might have even spoken at I might have spoken to setting up a program for the whole year, for the entire year, so that we're not sort of grabbing at straws from month to month. And I think it's probably the easiest thing to do as a committee, the subcommittee, however you're going to set it up. But set the program up so that it's going to include anywhere from 9 to 12 editions, hopefully, with specific topics that can be covered. And then if the committee members are going to participate and take part, then they have an advance notice well within the month or two that okay, Dee, it's your turn to write something, or mine or someone else, or however we decide to do it, so that we do it well in advance. We're not springing things on folks last minute and then trying to scramble, which sometimes historically we end up doing things like that. We don't do it intentionally, but it happens. So I would just like to see a format laid out for the whole year, more or less, if we can. And if we can't stick to it, certainly we have to be flexible. Maybe something happens that we can or can't publish a newsletter. But a yearly program laid out for a calendar year, I think, would help us organize it. Thank you.
I totally agree. I think we actually, I think we have a draft of a yearly calendar, but I agree that we probably should refine that and finalize it.
Sure. I mean, we know what's coming up. I mean, like Selectman McKenna, Mills said, when you know, and what I think is it May, David? I get these months mixed up. June, we have a Gay Pride Month, right? So, if we're going to start at some point, I'm not sure when the newsletter would be ready, but if it's going to be ready in March or April, then we have to be planning ahead, knowing full well that Gay Pride Month is there, and that might be the focus of the newsletter. And then you've got June and July, and obviously you can tie in a lot of things in the summertime with some of the things that happened in the country over the past 200 and so many years.
Definitely. Yep. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Anna?
Can we get Paul involved in our social media committee?
Why?
Because you've got great ideas and we're hearing about them now.
I do my best to avoid you.
I know.
I'm just kidding you. Sure, I'd be more than happy to be involved. Is that going to be a subcommittee where we would meet like we do now until we can meet in person? Is that what we're doing right now?
But
that is correct.
And who's on the committee right now?
Myself.
It's just Donna and Bob.
Donna and Bob, and Eileen, obviously, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be more than happy. Sure.
Perfect. You can use it next time.
You trapped me, Donna.
Thank you. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
I think it was awesome. And yeah, I think if we get that up for March 1st, that would be amazing. Who was involved in putting that together? Eileen and who else?
It was Eileen, Bob and Donna. I mean, I chime in, but I'm more like an outsider.
Okay, yeah, no, that looks amazing. You guys did a great job. Kudos.
Thank you. Rob Sullivan.
Yeah, I think the same. That looked. I've only been away for a couple months, so I was kind of expecting just to see like a rough sketch or something. That was really impressive looking. I like that.
Thank you. David Mills.
Oh,
I think David is muted.
David, I just requested an unmute.
Yeah, we
Sorry, thank you. I could. First of all, the artwork, look of it is really stunning. Just think that it's an enormous amount of work turning out. I've been an editor of different magazines and things through the years, and it is a enormous amount of work. And the other thing that occurred to me is it would be wonderful if we could cultivate a relationship with students at the prep, Danvers High School, maybe Bishop Fenwick, students who would write about human rights issues in their schools to be, published, and to make it like a regular column in our newsletter. We could count on something every month of the school year for human rights at Danvers High School, human rights at St. John's Prep. Keep in mind that there has been stuff going on in the Danvers school system, the high school, with respect to misbehavior on the hockey team. And I don't know any of the details, but it was serious stuff leading to a 9 or 10 month investigation. I know Boston College is in Danvers, but they've had enormous problems with racist stuff going on at this major Catholic university. So I'm saying that in the schools, there's probably important stuff that if we had a regular column for the Danvers High, student report and one for the prep, I don't know yet. North Shore Community College, think about that, and think about Essex Aggie, because the Aggie is no longer a throwaway school. I mean, it's like a what do they call that? You have to take an entrance exam to get in. So just an idea, just a thought, but otherwise, it sounds like a wonderful idea to me. An enormous amount of work, and I don't want to kill Donna and Eileen at this time. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for the comments and suggestions. So if you have any further ideas, comments, or things you would like to see, definitely you can share that with the subcommittee. I would like us to now, sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth on the agenda here. It's very difficult in this virtual world to get things flowing. So I'll go back on agenda number 3C now. So we have the Women History Month celebration webpage on 3A, the newsletter on 3B, and now the 3C. It sounded to me like most people are okay with Danvers United with the logo of the bumper sticker contest winner. Could I get a motion to vote on that name?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So that was David McKenna. And who was the second person?
Paul.
Paul Pollack. So this will be voting on the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee newsletter that will hopefully start on March 1st. And the name will be Danvers United, which came from the bumper sticker contest winner with the logo. Bill Graham.
Aye.
Donna Hopkins,
Aye.
David McKenna,
Aye.
Paul Pollack,
Aye.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar,
Aye.
and I am I. So that will be the title of our newsletter. Thank you all. This is great. I think it will be a good way to continue to expand our outreach with the community. I will now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the liaison updates. Lieutenant Rob Sullivan, any updates?
So I am actually only on, I think, my 4th or 5th day back to work after being out since Thanksgiving with an injury. So I'm still working on getting caught up. The only report that I'm aware of was a complaint we received about a social media site that involves some of the middle school and high school students and former students. It's a site that the school resource officers and the school administration are aware of. It's used mainly to take screenshots of bad behavior that other students have had online, and try and either bring attention to them or cause further problems or further fights. But like I said, we are aware of the aware of the site. The officers are monitoring it, and to the extent that they can identify who has made the post, they always reach out to the particular students involved, as well as the students' parents. And that's, as far as I'm aware, that's the only report that I've had forwarded to me since I was out.
Thank you. David Mills.
I don't recall any particular things. There is a report floating around. I think it's public record, involving the investigation of irregularities in the Danvers High School, especially the hockey community. It's not going to be made public. I think that, it's heavy stuff. It's important stuff. It illustrates, I think it goes along with what Rob Sullivan commented on. There is stuff going on among the young people in our community, which is really, really sad and discouraging. Of course, I'm an old man, but it comes down to what I would say: the kids do what they're taught by their parents, and we have a lot of work left to do in this community. There is hatred. There is, like the rest of the country. So all I think it tells us is our work is not done. What we are doing tonight and what you people, particularly committed to this committee, are doing is very, very important for our town. But otherwise, directly from the selectmen, can't think of anything. But before we leave, will I have a chance to speak about Black History Month and Richard Trask and the Abolitionist Society in Danvers?
Sure. That you can actually, that would lead us on to our next item on the agenda, which is new business. So go ahead, David.
Thank you, Dee. I didn't catch it early on. A month ago, suggest to us that as a committee, we do something in recognition of Black History Month. It was in the back of my mind for 4 or 5 weeks. I didn't say anything. We all had other things going on. Then I was informed in the last month, 2 or 3, that the Maple Street Church in Danvers had been a very influential institution in the 19th century, as far as escaping slaves and the abolitionist movement in the United States. I didn't know much about. I spoke to Richard Trask, and of course, David McKenna, maybe Paul, maybe, I don't know if you know Richard Trask. Richard Trask is the town archivist. He is the keeper of all of the historical documents and history of the town of Danvers. He's an accomplished author. He's also a widower. He lost his wonderful wife about a year ago. And he is a gentle, beautiful, intellectual giant. So a week or so ago, I called him. I may have mentioned to this committee at our last meeting that I was going to make an approach to him. I did. Asked him if he could give me some information about the relationship between Danvers and slavery. Well, he gave me a lot of articles to look up and some information. And I also had a talk with him yesterday or the day before, and I asked if he would consider, in conjunction with our committee and the Danvers Historical Society, to produce a little video. I guess we're too late. I think we're too late to do it properly for Black History Month, but we can get it done and have it ready. And he has got some magnificent stuff to relate. And I was thinking something in terms of a fireside chat between Richard and Dee. You know, on the relationship between Danvers and abolitionists and slavery in the United States. I think it would be massively powerful. Just close by saying this. He has one document that he's discovered. It was a letter written by a Danvers resident who, for some reason, went to Georgia sometime in the 19th century and witnessed a slave auction in which a mother and child were auctioned off in front of his eyes. It moved him deeply. He wrote a powerful, powerful testament to what he witnessed there. And Richard has a copy of that letter and a transcription. And he said if he reads it publicly, the town will weep. It is so powerful. So we have that Danvers history. And it's going to make me a whole lot prouder of my town to know that we were part of something like that. So how we go about it is maybe to just ask if the committee would give me authority to continue a discussion with him and to produce at his convenience, also utilizing, once again, our cable television people, Ben and to try to put together something. Unfortunately, we won't have it for Black History Month, but like a fireside chat between Dee and Richard on the topic of slavery in America as it relates to the town of Danvers. So I don't know if you want us to go ahead. And I know Dee swamped with COVID, but I don't think you'd have to do anything except be your beautiful self, listen and ask a couple of questions, and become another movie star, as you have been over and over. So that's just what I wanted to mention.
Thank you, David. I love the idea. Yes, Donna?
I was just going to say something that important, I don't think has to be done in February with Black History Month. I think that can be anytime. I think that's really powerful program.
Yes, Bill?
David, do you think we could talk Richard into doing a monthly column in our newsletter?
I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I love Richard. Richard moves very slowly. Richard's health is not, his mind is perfect. His health is not as strong as he would wish. But to write a column, I mean, he could dictate it and we could have someone transcribe it and then he could edit it. So he's got so much just in his head that, and it doesn't have to be only with respect to abolitionists and slavery. I'm sure he's got all other kinds of stuff that would be wonderful as a column. And at least we can ask him that. I'm not going to ask him that right now because I'm asking him if he'll be a television star with Dee or something, or allow and the Danvers Historical Society would certainly kind of co-sponsor that to give it more, a little more bounce to the ounce. So I think it's a great idea, Bill. It's just, I don't know, we want to put that on him right now. wait until we have maybe one edition of our newsletter out to be able to show it to them, you know?
Perfect. Yes, Eileen, you had a question or comment? You're muted. Eileen, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. No, I know we don't want to put a deadline on it necessarily, but that might be something that could be really excellent even for Juneteenth. Seeing as this is the first year that Massachusetts will be recognizing Juneteenth as a holiday, it might be an appropriate time and gives a little extra time to put things together. So
Sounds
my
brilliant.
thoughts.
That sounds brilliant.
That's a good idea. Any other comments, questions on the new business? Yes, Bill?
Bob Gamer had me edit an article that he'd written. I don't know if that was for the newsletter or something else. Do you know what that
No, that was not for the newsletter. That was actually for Danvers Cares. It was just Danvers Cares had asked that we write a little piece on some of the work that we're doing in town to make it a healthier town. So it was for Danvers Cares, and I don't think that has been published yet. That usually comes out in the spring, and it comes out with one of the Danvers Herald newspaper in the spring.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the new business? Okay, no. Okay, so thank you, David, for reaching out to us. We do have a ton of resources there that we can really tap on to enrich ourselves and educate ourselves. And I was looking at the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, we are reminded the theme for this year. The 2021 Black History theme was the Black family. And it was centered around representation, identity, and diversity. The family offers a rich tapestry of image for exploring the African American past and present. The Black family, representation, identity, and diversity. I will leave you all today with a couple of inspiring quotes. The first one is from Michelle Obama, who said, "History has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own." The next one is, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." And that was from Harriet Tubman. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And that's also my favorite Dr. Martin Luther King quote. And the last one about love was, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at the destination full of hope." And that was from Maya Angelou. Thank you, Danvers, for listening tonight. Happy Black History Month. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Oh.